Welcome to episode 10 of That's What I'm Saying, the podcast about hip hop, entertainment, dating, relationships, and sex, and social issues from a sometimes ratchet, but mostly woke perspective. So, subscribe to That's What I'm Saying, the podcast. We're in iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and Stitcher. So, I'm Shaun.
I'm Ny.
And
Somebody had a special weekend this weekend.
Hey, it's my birthday. It's my birthday. Yes.
It's the real one's birthday. It's the real one's birthday.
It's your birthday. Make some noise. Wait, what's the other one? It's your birthday, bitch. Yep.
So many birthday songs out there now.
Oh my goodness. And they all played them. So, for my birthday, I celebrated and you missed it, but I had karaoke on South Beach. I had a karaoke party and it was so much fun. And it's funny because as much of a hip hop head as I am, I have a thing for old 80s European pop songs.
But 80s music was the shit though, all around.
Was the shit. Okay, so I'm like straight Tears for Fears and George Michael and Culture Club. I'm all in it. So, I had the best time with family and friends came and celebrated my what we gonna call this? My 29th with my 29th birthday. My 29th power birthday. Okay. Yes. So it was such a good time. Like I really enjoyed it. So shout out to Sing Sing Karaoke on South Beach because they made my night memorable. So yes.
Wonderful.
So what are we?
Had a good time.
Thank you. Wish you were there. I missed you, girl. But
no.
When I turn 27, because my time goes back. So I turn 27. You
right. Next year. I'll be there, girl.
I know you will. So let's call this episode. What do we say? We're gonna call it "This Is America." Don't catch you slipping up, because we definitely have some things that we need to touch on. Being that we in the United States of America, KKK. So what? We're gonna start with the ratchet minute, right?
Yeah, let's start with a little bit of ratchet. Yeah, so I don't know if you got this little there was this little thing floating around Facebook and the internet where it was a recording of like a man saying Yanny or Laurel. That was the debate.
Yes, I heard. I did hear about it.
Yeah, so it was going around, and every time I heard it, it said Yanny. Yanny. Yeah, that's all I heard.
You have those kind of ears, because I heard.
I heard Laurel one time, and then I went back to that same recording, and I heard Yanny again. So it's really weird how that works.
Maybe that's okay. So I don't want to spend too much time on it, because I was like, this is the dumbest shit ever. But I will say I didn't hear a Yanny at all. All. No. So I mean, I guess that's how interesting is that, because I was like, I don't know where people are hearing this Yanny. Me and Lil Man were listening to it, and he didn't hear it either. He's like, this is ridiculous. I don't hear Yanny at all. I was like, me neither.
That's all I heard was Yanny. It was like a nasally, pitchy voice saying Yanny. And the one time I heard Laurel, it was a lower register. But it was weird because I went back to that recording to the same site and listened on the same device, and then I heard Yanny again. So I don't know I don't know. It's really weird. It's almost like that a couple years ago when they had that dress floating around. Where you could
is it blue or green or something? I don't know. Everybody had the Mandela effect on the dress, so nobody knew what color it was. Nobody could remember. That's the craziness. So okay.
Anyway, moving along.
Yeah. So have you seen Trinidad James recently on his social media? Gold all of my neck.
Gold all of my brain. Nigga. That was my shit. I used to like that.
It was, right? The video with him on a bicycle. Yes. So apparently he is it looks like he's transitioning into being a lovely lady of the night. I don't know if you've seen
No, but he would be a very interesting looking lady, because he was kind of hard to look at as a man.
You know what? That's what I'm saying. He ain't wasn't easy on the eyes.
No, he was
a little difficult to gaze at. So he's been posting pictures of him wearing like women's clothing and going to the nail salon and getting that rap girl with the swirl colors and the encrusted jewels on his silk wrap. So um I don't know. And he's got the little the I don't know what you call it, the Brazilian or the Malaysian. I think it's the Brazilian wave on the
Mhm.
side on his hair. So I don't know. I mean, he didn't strike me as someone who'd be doing a Bruce Jenner, but then Bruce Jenner didn't strike me as somebody that would be doing a Caitlyn. So
Mhm.
I don't know. What
Well,
do you think?
you never know. I haven't seen the pictures. I really kind of don't want to see the pictures, but you never know what people are going through because Bruce Jenner,
Yeah.
um, allegedly when he was dating the Kardashian mom, he was actually going through the
Mm-hmm.
transition at that point, and that was what
And
20 almost 30 something years ago. So we didn't know it. They knew it, but we didn't know it.
who
So yeah, who
I
knew?
tell
So
you
you never know.
a funny story. Yeah, and that's right. Like you never know what's going on in people's mindset. I remember I had a client back in the day, and I represented him in a divorce, and he was transitioning from male to female during the course of the divorce. So, I mean, and at first it was very subtle because at first, he came in. I'm like, damn, his legs look cleaner than mine. Like it's just nice and lubricated and no hair at all. Like I think he went and got electrolysis and like removed all the hair. And then the next time he
Mhm.
came back, and obviously he had a chemical peel, and it was a white guy. So, chemical peel. I'm like, okay, so you got to tell me like what's going on because we're in the midst of like a heated divorce case. And he was just like, the wife already knows. She used to let me wear her underwear, and they had a son, and the son knew about it too. And I'm just like, okay, well, you gotta put this to a halt so we can just get through the trial and get through the financials. Can you just put this at to just hold it off? But it was like crazy. I'm like, every time I see this guy, he's
Mhm.
becoming more and more feminine. And when I tell you, it was like looking at what's the wrestler with the blonde hair? The what is
Hulk,
his name? Hulk
Hulk,
Hogan.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it was like Hulk Hogan transitioning.
Oh,
So can you imagine? And exactly like that.
did the wife ever use that as something against
She
him?
never did because she knew, and funny enough, that wasn't a big issue for her because she knew about it. And
Mhm.
he would wear, he admitted he would wear her underwear, or they would share underwear. Girl, I
Mm.
got some crazy stories. Yeah. So, but funny enough, that was not a main issue of custody. They were
Mhm.
fighting over financials, not over this son would come over and see dad, and dad being he loved some tennis skirts, and he would like be wearing tennis skirts, and
Mhm.
I can't even believe this. I'm
Wow.
talking about
That is that I don't that's something that I don't know if okay. How I'm gonna preface. So it's like, and my response would be, you know, w- what is my response is, do whatever makes you happy in this
but not
lifetime.
right, not right now. But
But no,
let's.
but no, hold on. I
Mhm.
mean, do whatever what makes you happy in this lifetime. But I'm saying that from a distance. If that was like somebody in my family or my boyfriend or my husband or the father of my kids, wow, that would just be too much for me to handle. That's a lot.
I mean, I'm as I'm telling it, I'm like, the shit was so crazy because it was like Hulk Hogan
Hmm.
turning into a
His wife,
woman.
his wife, they kind of look alike. So it's like Hulk
Yep.
Hogan turned into into one because
Yes.
she's kind of beefy and
She's got it
bulky.
exactly. So it's very interesting to say the least. But I say all that to say like you never really know what's going on in people's minds until they share a little with you, and then you kind of see like, wow, I would never would have thought.
Hmm.
And and they live like that for years. So in any case, Trinidad James, if live your life like it's golden, and whew,
More power to you, brother, sister, whatever.
oh no.
Bro,
Whew. So
sis.
yeah. Whew. Moving on. Are we gonna talk about K Michelle and her booty implants?
Sure, why
Okay,
not?
so I don't want to laugh as a sister. So evidently she had some complications. She was hospitalized back in April. She had a blood transfusion. She got really, really sick. So from what I understand, she had the implants, which were ginormous, and then she had them removed because of complications. And then she had an augmentation, whatever that means, and started really getting sick. So she's very vocal about it. I've heard her on social media just kind of talking about her journey and what has happened. So all of this so that you can have a donkey ass. And to be honest, I thought she already had a nice shape before then, but she's
She
transitioned
really
into
did.
this. Hmm.
She was really shapely. She had a nice black woman's body beforehand, and then she got
Yeah.
this booty, and it just looked so awkward. Well, these women that get these implants in their butts, it just looks so awkward because your butt is huge, and then you got these thighs that don't. Your thighs don't match. As Cardi B said,
Sorry,
your
said.
thighs don't
The Cardi
match.
B had we talked about her implants. Look, nothing. I don't knock a sister for doing you. If that's the life you want to live, and that's how that go ahead and do you. But at the expense of your health and your well
Yeah.
being,
Hmm.
and I mean honestly, it's a look that I can never understand. I remember back in the day there was a nail salon in Jersey. And if you said the right thing, you could slide up on in the back where they do massages and they would do booty implants.
Hmm.
Or not, I guess not the implants, they would do the injections.
Hmm.
But they were using like that paint, that whatever that paint, silicone paint. And for
Hmm.
it was like 750, $800. So I actually had a friend that had it done and it looked good for a little while, and then slowly that putty started moving off to her hips,
Oh,
but
jeez. Oh,
unevenly. So it was like she had to like move it back on her butt.
oh,
Oh my
oh my
gosh! I'm just
God, that's
like for
gross.
$700.
Mm. And a lot of people have died from that, with these
Yeah.
injections and stuff. I just, it's our society makes it really hard for a woman to be satisfied with what she was given. We see all
Mhm.
these images on TV, um, in the music videos, in the movies. It's like this unrealistic form of
Right.
a woman. So
Right. I
we
mean,
just
we have gone Photoshop crazy too, because I think if we could cut down on the Photoshop and see the real, people would
Hmm.
be very surprised by you went out here and spent all this money to look like somebody that don't even look like that in real life. That's the crazy. But
Hmm.
again, I don't want to
Yeah,
knock it.
that's
It's like unreal. You see these, and it's for a sister that's shapely. Shapely to me comes we come in so many different flavors. So
hmm
you don't have to be the itty bitty tiny little waist with the
hmm
thighs to be shapely. But
hmm
like I agree with you. We just have this notion that we're conforming to a look and an aesthetic that it's so cartoonish and it's so made up and it's not even real. And I
hmm
guarantee you, as beautiful as a Kim Kardashian is, when you see her in real life, she doesn't look like the pictures that you see in the
her
magazine.
booty, her and Courtney's booty or Chloe's booty just
Oh
looks
God.
crazy. And the funny thing is that there's this story, and this is true. It happened in real life in the early 1900s. There was a South African woman named Sarah
The
Barton who had
Hottentot, the Venus Hottentot,
Hottentot. Yeah, she had a really
huge
big butt,
derriere.
and she had yeah, she had her labia hung down. So she was enslaved in South Africa, but her enslaver took her to Europe and kind of put her as like a circus act.
Yeah, like a sideshow act. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really ironic how back then, this woman was made into a caricature,
Hmm.
but now women want to be her
Want to
now.
be her now. This is the never ending story with us. It's the race baiting that happens. Like, y'all don't want to be us. You hate us. You got all this animosity and hatred, but
Mhm.
secretly you want to be
You
like
want to
us.
be, yeah, you want to be us.
Hmm.
You want to be us.
That's the story. So get well, K Michelle. And
Yeah.
you were a beautiful girl without it. I see she's morphing. I just hope not on the routes of Lil Kim because I'm seeing some things going on in her face
Mhm.
that I'm like, I don't remember
Oh,
her.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that
Oh.
face, K Michelle. But
Mhm.
do
Yeah.
you,
So,
boo?
all right, Kim Michelle.
All right.
All right,
So
moving
we're gonna
along.
talk about somebody went Splash Mountain on Tia Marie's face.
Oh, this, you know what? This was
I don't
so,
want to
I
laugh.
really felt so bad for her because this was,
Why, when
you
you saw the
know,
press
when you,
conference?
well, no, I didn't even see the press conference, but
What? With
I
Gloria
read,
Allred with her lawyer?
right. So I just kind of read what she said before the press conference, and she's from what she said, she's in a committed relationship with this guy, and it's a video that they took together that was leaked. That's so embarrassing, and it's different if it was like a staged sex tape, and she was, this is a ploy to get publicity, but this is like a private moment. It's almost like a form
It
of rape.
was. It
It's
was.
almost like a form of rape to me because you don't want that kind of stuff to get out. But I will
Um,
say,
hmm
I don't want to laugh, but I
But
will
you do.
say, but what's the girl's name that had to be by Rob Kardashian?
Oh, China, Black China.
Yeah, Black China. So she had her little video that came out, and
I
she was
heard.
kind of like nibbling on the penis. Teairra Michelle like was getting busy
Took it.
on it. I was like,
Took
no,
that
girl,
shit. What? Let him go slide,
she was
splash
getting busy.
mountain on you. Woo!
She was getting busy, so I do feel bad for her, but she did kind of represent.
But, but this is why I'm telling you, in this day and age, like no cameras, and if it's a any sort of video, I own the phone, and
Yeah.
damn it, I don't know what I would do.
Mhm.
This is just I'm that I let me tell you, I had a friend of mine, and this was like real serious. So evidently there's these, you got all these porn sites. Like porn is just it's you can go online and it's free porn everywhere. So evidently I had a friend of mine who she was with this guy, and they must have broke up or whatever. But the whole revenge porn thing. So he posted a video of her on a site where he was actually making money off of it. So like for $1 per view or something. And it was a hidden
Mhm.
camera. And another friend of ours saw it and
Oh.
had a really hard time telling her, it was like a big thing, like telling her, like, look, there's a video of you on this site.
Mhm.
Because then the question was like, well, what were you doing on the site? Like, what, So it was but
Mhm.
it was a big thing, and my heart just went out to her because she didn't know, and it was obviously
Mhm.
it was a hidden. I mean, it was a hidden camera because I saw the video, and we're watching
Mhm.
it, and just the like you're explaining, it's like rape. It's like you lose that.
It's a violation. It's a
It's
violation. You're
such a
violating.
violation, and I really felt for her, because I mean it was like it was all over, and it was, you could clearly see that it was her, and that she didn't know that it was going down. So whatever kind of
Mhm.
setup he had, and I was like, you know what, these new niggas these days and social media, you never know. That's why you got to be real careful
Mhm.
of who you
So
with,
what
unless
happened? Did you
you.
press charges against him? Like what
Yeah,
happened with
and
that?
I'm telling you, they were the police were so inept at handling something like that. And it didn't, it what, he didn't get in trouble. It was, it was charges, but at the end of the day, he wasn't convicted of anything. There was really nothing to convict him with because the act itself was consensual. They were having consensual
Mhm.
sex. It just so happens he was videotaping in his home. And
And that's the illegal part, though.
that
That's
the right. So the illegal part should have been he actually made money off of it. I mean, it couldn't be proven, but he was making money off of it. I mean, he posted it to a site and somebody was making $1 every view, and it had like thousands of views. So somebody was making money off of it. But it was just
Mhm.
sad. It was, just so sad. So I'm looking at Teairra Marie, and at first, I mean, to be honest with you, I was like, you know what? She probably leaked that shit herself. But just in even though there was press coverage and it was live action, and she had statements, and obviously you saw the video, and she seemed like somebody who like, girl, you didn't know, like, and whether he did it, whether the guy Akbar or whatever, like he's the one who put out the video, or then 50 Cent got involved, and because he's the one who posted it. It's just like
He is so messy. 50 Cent is so
he is. I love to hate
messy.
him. I love to hate him. Like I love
Me
50.
too, because it's like his social media persona is such an asshole. He is such an asshole. He does asshole-ish
Shit,
things on social media.
but he's so damn
But
charismatic.
I've seen interviews with him, and I'm like, yo, I fall
Like
in love with him
he
every
could get
time.
it right.
Right. Like I
He,
fall in love with him every time I see an interview with him because he's so charismatic. I'm like, I'll have your baby.
I feel the
When,
same way, right?
right,
You asked me 21 questions.
right. He's like Dr. Jekyll and
What?
Mr. Hyde. I don't
And
get
that
it.
is so,
I
it's
don't
so
get it.
true. I feel the same way. So I'm like, wow, he really, like, why are you dragging her? She obviously, I mean, I felt so bad for her. Like, dude going Splash Mountain all over her face like that.
Hmm. I
Girl.
know. But, you know,
I don't want to laugh. Poor
I
babies.
feel
Poor
bad for
babies.
her. I feel bad for her. But she did
Mm.
represent though. She did a good job.
Yeah, she did it because I did see the one with Black China, and I'm like, that's some lazy ass shit. Like, who's enjoying?
Yeah. Like, what is going on here? What's going?
She
She's like
is.
nibbling on it.
It's like it's munching lightly, just grazing.
Little snack.
girl, 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 you don't want to take control of that.
No.
Shit.
But then I saw Amber Rose came to her defense and she was like, do you not think Black China cannot suck a dick? Come on now. She knows how to suck a dick. Like she was like really going hard for her about her oral skills.
Are you my friend like that? Just in case I need some backup defense on my dick sucking skills. Are you gonna come to my
Sean T can suck some dick. She
oh
can suck
girl?
some dick. I'm
Sean
just
can suck
saying.
You don't even know. You don't even know. That's my girl. I know.
Sean can do it, man. She can take it.
Girl got skills.
Oh boy, we
Yeah,
ain't that kind of friends though.
yeah, I know.
Hopefully, it will never get to that point.
I know, right? Let's not have that juncture in our friendship where I gotta vouch for your dick sucking skills.
Oh,
They calling me for quotes. Like I don't
that'll be a sad day in Black history.
like we gonna all need reparations.
Right. Oh,
Oh, all right. So moving on. Do we have any more ratchet before we get into? Well, we have to wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
yeah. I don't have any ratchet. But moving into this woke segment, there was this article that I read that just really, really touched my heart. About Whitney Houston. So
Mm.
apparently there's a documentary that's premiering at Cannes. And this article was in Vanity Fair, but there's this documentary that's premiering in Cannes by Kevin McDonald, and it's just a film just kind of documenting her, her life, her rise to stardom, and her
Mhm.
fame and her demise. And so he was saying that throughout maybe 3/4 of this documentary, he was getting like the information that we already know about Whitney Houston. She, from her childhood, up until her untimely death. But
Mhm.
he said at the last moment he got some information from her, actually off the record. But then he got her personal assistant to come on the record to say that Whitney Houston was actually sexually molested
Mm.
by one of her family members, and that family member happened to be Dionne Warwick's sister, Dee Warwick.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't
So
Dion, it was
apparently,
Evie. Okay.
no,
Okay.
it was Dee Dee. So what happened? Her mother, Cissy Houston, was a backup singer, so she would travel, and her husband would travel with her. So while they were gone, Whitney and her brothers were kind of passed along to different relatives, and they would go stay with Dee Dee. And so apparently, Whitney and her older brother Gary were molested by this woman, and so it really kind of explains her descent into drugs, because
It does.
I never really understood. I watched a documentary on her before, and it just talked about the drug abuse that she and her brothers had. Like they
Right.
all did
Yeah,
drugs.
they
And
all
I
did. Yep.
yeah, and I never really understood it because from the outside looking in, you would think that, her parents were so involved in the church and her mother seemed like such a strong presence in her life. I didn't know where this dysfunction came from that, it's one thing when one of your kids is on drugs, but all of them, like there's something that's
Yeah.
going on. So apparently this was the root cause of it. And so that tormented her for all of her life. So it was really heartbreaking. And
Wow. So what was the age difference between Dee Warwick and Whitney and her brother?
I don't know. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know the age difference. Mm-mm.
I'm
So
wondering
apparently
was
that she
she an
was
adult?
older. She's older, and she
Yeah.
was an adult. She was in there. She was their caretaker. So, but I don't know the age difference. But she clearly just took advantage of these kids and just kind of, even though Whitney had a fantabulous life, but she kind of ruined her life at the same time.
And she had
She
a
had all this
sadness
fame.
about her too.
Yeah, all the time. A sadness to her all the
Wow.
time.
Well, I mean, that's such a revelation because when you think about sexual abuse specifically within black families, traditionally we don't turn our own in. We kind of keep it as a family secret, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's the uncle or the nasty cousin or something, but we don't report, so we keep that in. And it's tragic
Mm-hmm.
that Whitney, I'm sure, she shared it with one of her confidants, with her assistant, who
Mm-hmm.
and obviously Whitney took that to the grave. And I
Yeah,
don't know
I
how,
don't even think
but
she never told her mother. She said, if I tell her, her mother is just gonna probably
it's
kill this
gonna,
woman.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
she's not gonna
And
be able to handle it. So she kind of took it to her grave, almost.
wow, yeah, yeah. Well, it's almost it's a good thing that it's coming out. It's such a sad revelation and it's so tragic, but I think that it does explain in a lot of ways, how her life ended up. And
Hmm.
we would never understand the full effects of that on her, but we've seen just the tragedy that unfolded before our eyes with this woman who had this magical voice, this god-given voice, but lived such a tragic life in front of
Yeah,
in
and
front of all of us.
it's that's a good word for it, tragic, because I think
Hmm.
about Bobby Brown and all of this, and he wasn't a saint. But Whitney's brother said that, Bobby was really a lightweight when it came to drugs. He said they
Yeah.
would do laps around him. They did
Yep.
so much drugs, it would kill a regular person, you
Wow.
know.
Yeah.
And what's really sad and kind of heartbreaking for me for Bobby Brown, like the life that he had with Whitney died.
Hmm. Yeah.
She died, his daughter with her died. Like that whole
Yep.
life
That
is
whole
just
life.
gone,
You're so right.
it's just
Um,
gone.
Yeah, I remember on a just a little bit of a lighter note, but it was when that show came out, being Bobby Brown, and everybody thought that Bobby Brown was the one that turned her out and was the one that was the bad influence, and Bobby this, Bobby that. When that show, I don't know if you ever saw that show, being Bobby Brown. Did you ever watch it? It was like
Yeah, I
6 to 8 episodes. When
watched
that came out, it was like, who the
I
real
loved
ratchet
it.
one is. I loved it too. I loved every minute of it, but I mean, it was crazy because it had Bobby Brown being the voice of reason a lot of times.
Mhm,
Like he was the
mhm,
same one, and really, it was, he talks about his bipolar disorder, and he's a drinker. The drugs,
mhm.
yeah, but I mean, she definitely, like you said, was running circles around him, and that
Yeah.
show revealed all of that. Like, oh, look at the one who's the ratchet over here. It's
She
Whitney.
was super hoot, and her image, when she first came out, was just like this all American black princess, and she was like she was like completely opposite of that. She was completely opposite. This chick was hood, like
All the
hood,
way live. She was all the way
hood.
live. It was so crazy to see, but it was so good to see. Like,
Yeah, it
man,
was.
she is
Hmm.
hood. Man, when they had, I don't know if they didn't get evicted, but they had to leave their home because it was flooding or something. They was in the car and living in the car, like in a Porsche. I was like, what the hell is
and
going on here?
it's like watching a train wreck,
Yeah.
happening, but it's also like you kind of want to hang out with them because you know that shit
Yep.
would be live
It'll be
all the
so
time.
off the so off the
Right.
chain. And that's why I watched it. I love that show. So, oh man, rest in peace,
Yeah.
Whitney
Rest in peace.
Houston.
I you know, I love Whitney.
Oh yeah,
When
you
she,
got Whitney hair right now. If everybody could
I
see
do.
now right now, I want to love somebody Whitney Houston hair right now.
I'm gonna post a picture tomorrow. I'll
You
post it
should.
on
You
Instagram on the
should.
gram.
I want to love just somebody. That's how you look. I want to feel the heat with somebody. It's
I had to come
beautiful though. It's
dust
beautiful.
out my blonde hair. I had to take it out and dust it off and put it in. Shake it out real quick.
It looks great though. It does.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
all right. That we are not supposed to laugh during the
I
woke
know
minute.
that was supposed to.
Okay.
We always end up laughing
I
during the
know.
walk. What something's
Mm-mm,
wrong with us?
mm-mm. No,
Sorry.
serious face. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Let's go.
right. Um, we
So
have to. What do we have to talk about now?
so I briefly wanted to just talk about this school shooting. And I don't really want to talk about it because I'm just tired of talking about stuff like this. You know.
Hmm.
But anyway, I'm just gonna gloss over it. And Sean, if you want to interject in there, you can. But I'm just kind of gonna go over the basic facts. Everyone knows what happened. There was a school shooting in Santa Fe, Texas. I read one report where it said 8 people were dead. But then I read um, somewhere where it says 10 people were dead and there were like 13 people wounded. And the shooter is Dimitrios Pagortzis.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's how you pronounce his name. He's 17 years old. I think that name is Greek. It looks Greek.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. So he's accused of capital murder. He used a shotgun and a 38 revolver that was legally owned by his father. So apparently he took, these guns and went to school and just kind of and just blasted. So gunfire erupted at the school about 20 miles outside of Galveston, not long after classes began around 7:30. And authorities later found explosive devices, including pipe bombs and pressure cookers, in and near the
Yeah.
school. And they're also investigating a second person, an 18-year-old. I don't have that name, but may have been an accomplice in all of this. So um, we got another school shooting. I think we've had one. I think I read we've had one every week this year. Somewhere there's been some sort of school shooting.
Wow.
Um, we've
This
had
is
like 200 and something
another
school
try. And,
shootings.
well, I'm just gonna, I feel the same way that you did. I mean, it's like we're reporting on. I mean, we could do this every week. It's the same story. So what are we seeing when we tell these stories? We're seeing white boy, a white male.
Hmm.
Um, there's always some hint of this, some sort of Nazi medallions or some sort of white supremacist, whether this, and that's what they're saying. The reports are that this kid was very active on these white supremacist websites. And of course, I'm not really seeing that reported as much, but let's come on. Like, they said that he was dumped by his girlfriend for a black kid, and which was a reason why he picked up these guns and went to school and started shooting. So I think it's very clear. We could sit and we could split hairs and talk about all this stuff. And I've said this before. I said we have these new age white kids
Hmm.
who, bullying is a thing. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm like, there needs to be a balance. And I think you have these kids that have grown up so soft and so
Since.
they're so sensitive, and they
Hmm.
can't take it. So I think we're dealing with this, I don't know what you call this white boy privilege of,
Hmm.
you get.
It's like that white male masculinity is so fragile.
Yeah, they can't
You
cope
know,
with being uncomfortable. They don't
it's like
like to, anything that makes them
yeah.
feel uncomfortable, they're ready to go and shoot it up. So this
Hmm.
is,
And I
whether you
and
guys.
I what I really think has to do with it is like the sign of the times. Um, in America, and I can only speak for America, but right now we have so many different people who are fighting for their rights. We have the black people fighting for their rights
Mhm.
continuously. Women, we have gay rights. We have immigrants
Transgender
from
immigrants.
from Mexico. So
Oh,
it's like
any more
the
immigrants now?
say what?
Just the immigrants from Mexico.
Well, from South America, damn it.
Okay, I know.
From South America. Because
Oh
Canadian
Lord.
immigrants don't have this issue, but the South American immigrants. But we have all these like power surges that are happening right now,
Mm-hmm.
and the throne that the white man has put himself on
It's
is
crumbling.
tumbling down. Yeah, it's
It's it's
crumbling. So
it's been it's been crumbling, which is why they over there in England trying to marry up a black girl, but that's a different story, half black girl. Which we'll get to that. So no, I totally agree with you. And this is they're fighting for their survival. And that's what it is. That's why they're picking up
mhm,
guns. That's why they feel they're in fear,
mhm,
of their race just totally disappearing. And again, it's you got I think just like they're uncomfortable they don't know how to deal with slights. This is
yeah.
this. You tell me this dude went and shot up the school, the art class
Mhm.
because you know a girl didn't
Some
want to
girl turned down his advances.
didn't want to be with him because he
Mhm.
probably wore trench coats to school and was weirding everybody out anyway. I mean,
And you're
but this.
speaking of trench coats, there is this article on New York Daily News. Conservative commentator Hugh Hewitt floats trench coat ban in response to Santa Fe massacre. So he wants to ban trench coats, not guns, but he wants to
Mhm.
ban trench coats.
Oh, I mean, and you hear the
Heard about
NRA and they're
this?
talking about it's the drugs that the kids use, not the guns, which I admit I would agree. It's some of this medication. I'd be really interested to hear what this kid was on, but I mean, they will do anything to not put guns in the debate,
Right.
to not ban guns.
Mhm.
They will say and do anything, and it sounds so ludicrous. It sounds so crazy. So you went all the way around
And said a ban on a piece of clothing. That's going to stop the
because that's
shooting.
gonna do it. Oh
That's
my
going to stop the
golly,
shooting.
wow!
Not
If
the
we could just
guns, but the trench
stop
coat.
the import from China of all of these trench coats,
Right.
we would not
Ban
have.
trench coat material.
That's just, but look, that's the white man's ludicrousy.
Ridiculous.
That's
Yeah.
we see that. So, not too much. I just think like let's pay attention. Let's call it for what it is, because you don't see Radio Raheem going and shooting up his high school
Mm.
because homegirl dumped him. But you get it's like whether they're embarrassed or they just can't. You can't take embarrassed. I told you this. So I said we need bullies. You need a bully in the school. You know what I'm saying? You learn how it's
To
like
defend
natural
yourself.
selection. You learn how to defend yourself. You learn how to deflect. You don't go and pick up a gun. Like, I told you what did Arnold do with the gooch? And the gooch was stealing his money in school. You learn like don't sit at the table. Don't bring your lunch money into
Mhm.
school. You know what I'm saying? Like you learn ways around it. That type of conflict resolution, which is just like that gene is missing,
Mhm.
in them. And this
Mhm.
is, a perfect example. So you got to see like this kid Demetrios. He obviously heard what happened here in Parkland, Florida, a couple months ago. So he's, was well aware. Didn't stop him at all. Probably emboldened him. And made him come out here and do. So it's sickening. We really need to address instead of, I commend, I don't know what's the singer's name, but the Billboard Music Awards, and they were talking about a moment of silence. She was like, fuck that. We're not having a moment of silence. Let's have a moment of action. So,
Mhm.
what are we gonna do? And the plan better not be banning trench coats. We
Yeah.
need a plan. So how about we start with the guns? Since the guns seem to be the number one problem, how about we start with the number one problem?
Yeah, the guns that's the common denominator in each of these
Hmm.
cases. There was a gun involved.
Yep, white males. So we're not banning white males.
But
So
you know what? You know what's going to really take for a reform on gun laws when a black kid goes and shoots up a white school.
yeah,
Girl, they're going to start banning guns all over the place. You're going to
all
see some
kind of
quick
stuff.
reform, quick.
Mhm. And I hope it doesn't come to that point, but I mean we're on track for that. It's bound to happen, unfortunately. So I
Hopefully, we
just
won't get to that point.
my prayers go out to the families and those involved in the school shooting in Santa Fe, Texas. This it really affects all of us. It really
Mhm.
does. So
Because it's like school is a safe space. If you can't send your kids to school and feel safe, feel comforted, they're safe within the walls of the school, where can you send your kids? At
right,
school.
and that
This is somewhere where they go every
yeah.
day for what, 6 hours a day?
More they spend
And
more
it's meant,
time in school than they do at home, and it's become a war
mhm.
zone.
Yeah.
Because of some white kids who are embarrassed and uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Some white boys.
Yeah.
But okay, anyway. All right,
Moving
so
along.
moving on, we got a little are we talking about I wanted to just kind of touch on so the royal wedding, Prince
Hmm.
Harry and Meghan Markle was last Saturday. Did you watch? Of
No,
course
I
you
did not.
didn't. I know you did
No.
not. So let me tell you, I had a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, who is a sister, but she actually traveled to London last week to be avail herself of an up close and personal at the royal wedding. So she
My eyes
spent
are rolling so hard into the back of my head. You just can't see. Oh Lord. Anyway,
so
go ahead.
I know this is a take it or leave it for you, but I just we just want to touch on it because I think there's some interesting little points in here. So what do you think about I heard something about Megan's like goals for black women and all this other stuff and and I'm like, well, Megan is biracial, correct? Um
She is. Hmm.
is and she looks like she got a nose job because I know the contour is not on point like that. So definitely looks like she had her nose augmented. She definitely passes for white. Um I although I can see that she does acknowledge her mother. Her mother is definitely a black woman.
Hmm.
Um when I saw this whole thing, it reminded me of The Imitation of Life. Did you ever see that movie? The old
Yeah, I
black and
did.
white movie and they made it in color. And Mahalia
Yeah,
Jackson sang at the
I
end.
watched it. I don't know. I don't know if this. I don't know. Why do you say that? Because really, in the Imitation of Life, the whole premise of that was she was really denying her mother, and I don't really see Megan really doing that.
Yeah, and I really wasn't putting that spin on it. I just said she reminds me of the chick that passed, but for she I don't think she ever actually came out like she doesn't say I'm a black woman. She says I'm biracial. So it was never she passed was because when she was on that show Suits, never watched it, but
Yeah.
I thought she was a white girl, to be honest. I had no idea that she was her mother had dreads at all. Wouldn't have
Hmm.
thought of it at all. Isn't it funny how the white side of her family was more
Girl, they was
was
acting
more
a plum
ghetto?
ass fool. A plum ass fool. They showed they white asses.
Her Mayberry family. I, I that
But you know what I thought was go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, I'm listening. Mm, what
No,
you
you know
thought?
what I thought was really interesting is that her mother was the only family member she had there. Like none of her, not from her dad's side, not from her mom's side. Her mom was the only family member there. I thought that was really interesting.
Because the black woman is God. That's why.
Where's her family?
You
I know
know,
she got some cousins,
I don't know.
something, some
So
aunties,
it-
somebody.
I don't know. And you know me with my conspiracy mind. So I'm still working on an angle with this because I know you don't get too much into it to the British monarchy and the bloodline and whether he's ruining the bloodline or he needs this black drop of blood. I'm still open to my conspiracy theories on this. All I know is the black woman is God. So I think this story is only beginning. There's some conspiracies out there and they're saying that, this is a way for England to take over the United States because their children, their offspring will be Americans and, they implant them into the government and so on and so forth. So I've heard that. Um,
Hmm.
I just think it's really interesting. She's not actually, she's not the first woman of color to be, a part of this whole British empire.
Hmm.
But I just think
I
it's
just don't.
interesting.
For me, I can only speak for me. But to me, I don't know why this would be goals for black women because the British monarchy is the most racist people. They built their whole dynasty on slavery
Hmm.
and thievery. Why?
Yeah, well, I never said
I
it
don't
was
know.
my
That's just
goal.
not goes for
Right. I
me.
mean, I
That's
thought
not goes for me.
I think whoever put that notion out was quickly shot down because I think most, I mean, you have the women that are caught up in the fairy tale of this, this princess, and I mean,
Mhm.
she's royalty now, and this is goals, and in terms of that, and I saw the memes, and they talked about like you need friends like Meghan Markle's because they introducing her to princes, and
Right.
what your friends doing.
My friends tell everybody I can suck dick. how my friends get down for me. But I saw this meme on Instagram, and it said, well, not a meme, but it was like a statement. It said, can you imagine marrying a prince and you can no longer wear whole clothes for the rest of your life?
Ever, ever,
You
forever.
can't wear your fuck up dress no more.
Nope, not me. I'm good. I'm good on the J Crew. Like I'm good. Mm-mm. I'd rather be a hoe for life. I'd rather be a hoe for life.
Hoes
I
be
didn't choose the
winning.
whole life. The whole life chose me.
But on a kind of on a serious note, I just her I can't even imagine what her life is going to be like. And I'm pretty sure she thought this out. She seems like a smart woman. Her mother seems like a smart woman, but it just seems as if, by marrying into this family, um, her whole
Yeah,
personality is just going to be stamped out,
yeah. She
you
gonna be
know.
hollering give us free sooner or later.
Mhm.
Just a matter of time. So okay, all right. Moving on. Congratulations to them though.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the Houston Police Department? They are investigating the report of 13-year-old Zavion Parker, who was snatched from his home from school in East Houston. Did you hear about that?
I did. Is this the kid that is this the kid that was snatched off the school bus by these white
It did, yeah.
folks?
Well, it doesn't sound like he was snatched off the school bus. It sounds like he was snatched off the street by
Mhm.
these. It sound like six white boys. Five of them were sound like under the age of 18. And he reported that they had tattoos and racial slurs on them, torn shirts, no shoes. So he was found by a black female bus driver, walking the streets or running through the streets. So she just said, thank God, stopped him and assisted him until the police arrived. So I mean, they're snatching black boys off the street.
Hmm.
Not a new story. This has been happening for a very long, very, very long time. But this is America, and that's and I think that's so appropriate. Like this is America. Don't catch you slipping up. Like this is the world we live in. I think we have this idyllic, notion of the United States. Like people come here. This is the land of opportunity, and the streets are paved in gold, and you know all of these very fairy tale ideas that when you get here and you see that's not what it is. We
Hmm.
race bait. We there's a lot of evil. You got people
Yeah.
who you got 23
When was
chromosomes
America
and
great?
and
When was America actually great?
you know what? And that's such a good question. Like what period of time and for who are we talking about? Because
Hmm. For that
that's not
white male.
but and if you want to talk, you talk about a summer in 1669. Like when are you talking about that America was so great? And at the same time, I don't want to knock like this has the potential to be such a great country. It really does. And I'm always surprised by how we do have genuine people and the heart of people, and how sometimes we can come together.
Hmm.
But the same time that we got all of this kumbaya going on, we got so much hatred, so much hate and
Hmm.
so much things. So and I can only speak to here. We live. This is America. This is where we live. I'm sure there are other countries that have different problems and issues, but I think
Yeah.
racism is alive and well, and we've got like neo racism. Like this is like new racism 2.0. You know,
This is not. I don't think this is not new racism. This is just the same racism that the country is built on. This is like the fabric of America. We were built off of racism.
but I
It's
I just
ingrained
think
in
it's and I agree with you. I just think with the advent of social media, like it has we're talking about a higher level of racism because it's right in your face. It's instant. It's microwave like right there.
us.
And now it's so institutionalized, but we've covered it up and we've masked it because we like to say, okay, we move forward. We don't deal with these types of issues anymore. And this is why, we have freedom of speech and we get Coon Kanye talking about make America great again and how much he loves Trump because that's the America that we list as America. You're allowed to say those things. But at the same time, how divisive and how much hate is behind those statements. We,
Hmm.
that, what motivates a kid to go and shoot up a school, with his classmates, with students that are in there.
Yeah, I can't even get into the mind state of what it would take to actually do that. Like I can't even physically look at a gun. I can't even pick up a gun because it just makes me so fearful
Right.
of it. So to actually have a gun and to put shells into it and or around and put it under my coat and walk into a classroom and cock it and shoot. Like
Yep.
I can't even fathom doing that. I
And
can't
and I'm with you, and it's one of the reasons why I don't keep a gun in my home, because and I feel like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that if I have it, I'm
hmm
going to be in a situation, I'm going to bring a situation to me where I'm going to need it and I'm going to need to
hmm
use it. And I just, I don't work off that type of energy. And I think that's, you got to look at what kind of energy are you putting out? And I agree, like what motivates somebody to do that? That's a lot, and I've done load a gun and do it. That's a lot. It's heavy. It's
hmm
a lot to do. It's a lot to think about. And then to point it at somebody. And this coward, he said he told the police that the plan was he was going to shoot himself, but he got scared. So you mean to tell me you offed 10 people,
Right, but couldn't even do
got scared to
yourself. You
take your
so
own life?
mad.
This is America. This is the craziness that we live in. So just want to take it back to Zavion Parker. It is we got to keep our brown babies safe. We got to
hmm
understand that this, as great as this country is, we got some evil here, and you gotta recognize what that is, and create the energy that you want to come back to you, because that's some evil. You mean these men are sitting in a car and plotting on a child,
On a baby, a child. Yeah.
who escaped with his life. Thank God for that.
hmm
But what
Because
about those that
who
don't?
knows what happened to him?
Yeah. So just this is America. You can't slip up here. All right. I think we did some woke for a minute. I'm ready to talk about some dick. Are
Yeah.
we good for the weekend dick report?
Yeah,
Let's
we
go.
good. Let's move
Yes,
along. Let's move
yes, 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 yes. We need some theme music for the weekend dick report. So, what would it
I
sound
used to
like?
be scared of the dick. Now don't listen to the dick.
Yes. So, all right. So today's weekend dick report, we actually have a question from a lovely listener. We don't give names. We're not going to give names. Okay, so she says, girl, me and my man love oral sex, so I was wondering if there is something we can eat or drink to make our juices taste better.
Don't eat no McDonald's.
For real. Let's
Don't eat
stay.
no
Let's
Burger
not drink no Hennessy.
King. Right. Hennessy semen is not doesn't taste good.
Woo, boy. Oh my goodness. We're gonna be like, I mean, we're gonna have to be like experts, because we are getting these questions, and I'm like,
I
I
know.
mean, I got a few skills. I know a thing or two about a thing or two. But y'all,
But
y'all.
there's this I keep hearing about this. I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard pineapple is supposedly supposed to make your semen taste better and it's the woman's vagina taste better.
Now
I
I
don't know
will
how true.
vouch for that, for the semen. And I will say, I mean, look, if I got a rendezvous plan, I'm buying the big quart of Dole pineapple juice, and I'm
hmm
sipping it all day. And I've been told that it makes quite a difference.
Oh, does it?
And yes, and strawberries too. So I think any fruit, like, and
Yeah.
and water, drink your water.
Mm.
Water, how I am with water. Water is life. Everything. You sick, I tell my son, you're sick, you feel drink some water. Water is everything. So drink water, hydrate. I always keep some pineapples and strawberries, because in my
Mm.
opinion, and from what I understand, it makes a difference.
Mm.
Makes it sweet. And I told you,
Yeah.
um, yeah. Anyway, over here
Thought
having
through.
flashbacks.
Right. But I just think in general, if you have a healthy lifestyle, you exercise, you eat pretty good foods, no fast foods, a bunch of fatty, fried foods. then your
Mhm.
body will thank you for it.
Don't smoke, right? No
Yeah.
smoking, because God, like it will taste like some cigarettes,
Mm,
some Marlboros. If you
mm,
let it, like, ah,
yeah. But you know what? Smoking is a deal breaker for me. Smoking cigarettes is a deal. So I don't even know what Newport
me
Light
too. It's a
semen
deal
tastes
breaker for
like, but
me too.
I can't deal with a smoker at all.
It's a deal breaker for me too, and precisely for that reason, whether it's oral or it don't you taste it, it don't go nowhere.
Yeah, and
Ugh.
it's like the person just smells like a smoke box. Like their breath smells like cigarettes. Their clothes, they just have like, and even if old men always have that smell. Like it smells like cigarettes and cologne.
Yep. Like you try to mask that shit, didn't you?
Right. Old Spice and
You
Newport.
think I wouldn't know? Nasty. It's
Yeah.
nasty.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think lovely listener, yeah, I'm gonna say water, pineapple juice, and strawberries, and especially if it's if that nighttime or that intimate period is coming, drench yourself. Just do just do a diet of water, strawberries, and pineapples.
Mhm.
Works
Yeah.
for me. Works for me.
All right.
Okay. All right. So we are now at the segment of the show. I reminisce. I reminisce. So, Nye, you have the reminisce song. What is it?
I did. And let me just preface this by saying that A Tribe Called Quest I would say one of my favorite groups. I
Yes.
Man, I can't even tell you the love I have for Tribe Called Quest. I only got a chance to see them perform once, and that was at Rock the Bells in DC like many, many moons ago. And I was so super hyped. And I was sad a couple years ago when Fife passed away because I just knew it would.
Yeah.
We weren't going to see all of them on stage at the same time. So it was a sad moment. But Tribe Called Quest, I swear, they were like the soundtrack of my high school. Everything about them was like the kids that I hung out with. We were like the backpack crew. You know what I'm saying? So it was like every time I saw like a video or it was like I could imagine myself in that video.
I was actually in a Tribe Called Quest video. Did you know
Oh
that?
really?
Yeah,
Mm-mm,
the check the rhymes video when they were on the roof.
mm-hmm.
It
Oh,
was
the block party.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I was there. I was there.
I was
I was
there.
actually there. Yeah.
So reminisce electric relaxation. I love this video.
Yes. Honey, check me out. You got me
It was
mesmerized. You fast and you
yes,
fast.
yes. And I wanted to be that girl because we dressed like I remember we dressed like that. And my nieces would look at my pictures from back then and she's like, why did you dress like a boy? That was the style. All of our clothes were baggy.
Everything was baggy.
Yeah,
Everything was Aliyah back and forth. Back. You look like that.
yeah,
And
I used to shop in the men's section. Girl, I had to go to TJ Maxx to get my champion white shirts for $25. But it was in the men's section. And my aunt was like, why do you always go into the men's section? I'm like, because they don't have champion shirts for women. Back then they did. But that was the style. But man, this I loved. It was so mellow. And, back then it was hip hop had a lot of jazz and fusion in it.
yeah.
So it was very melodic sound, but it was hard. It was hard too. And in this song, Fife, he dropped a lot of like little witty little lyrics. And his most famous was I like them brown, yellow, Puerto Rican, and Haitian.
Navy Spike dog from the Zulu Nation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Down. So let's put the boots like my
What year did that
down.
song come out?
93. 93. So I was a sophomore.
You over
when I
there
came out.
stamping yourself with age. Living my
I do. I'm proud. I'm proud. I will tell you, I'm a proud almost 41-year-old woman because I look good as shit for my age.
There
You know
go.
what I'm saying? And
All right, well, I mean,
good
damn,
as
you
shit.
outing me. I gotta you out
Well,
me
you
all
in the
over the
video, so
place.
you outed yourself.
I sure did.
I look on, Facebook and I see some of my classmates. And I'm like, are we the same
like,
age?
yeah, like, ooh, y'all, there's some hard living over there.
Man, you look like my mama right now.
Hard not life over there.
Yeah. But yeah, this was my jam. And that whole Midnight Marauders CD
That
just
album
knocked. So
was
it was tape
banging
back
from
then.
beginning to
It
end,
man,
right?
it knocked from the beginning to the end. It just knocked so hard. And I remember just going to parties, and we would be in there, our little 10th, 11th grade yo selves in there rocking the Tribe. Man, I rocked so hard with Tribe.
Wow.
So that's our
I miss
reminisce.
Fife. Yeah. So I miss Fife. Like he was, he was the one, he showed his skills on this song. I remember that. And he was like the 5 footer, and he really was.
Yeah,
He might have been
he was
four
really
eleven.
little.
He was really tiny,
He was tiny.
but
He was
had that
tiny.
flow. And you're right. And just kind of adding on to, like you said, like that was a time when it was very jazz infused. So you can go through their album and you can go and find the original music. I don't know who they sampled for Electric Relaxation. Do you know?
Yeah, they sampled. There were a couple samples, but the main one was Ronnie Foster, Mystic Brew, and
Yeah.
that's where they kind of got that melody in the beginning from that song.
And I can play that right now.
Yeah,
It just it rocks. So
I play it all the time. I put it on my headset, and it's so funny because I see people. Before I got like a good pair of headphones, I never really used to listen to music on my phone. But I live in New York, and we walk every motherfucking where. So
I do miss that about New York.
yeah, so I get my headphones on, and I swear to God, I be having a video going on walking down the street. I have to catch myself because I am like in the video.
looking in the window, in the store window, like,
Yeah.
yep. Wait, but I used to do that too. I used to in the car, like I'll drive in the car and I'll be like,
Mhm.
I'm in a video just in case somebody's watching me. I'm
Yeah.
I'm posing. I'm doing it.
Just
But
in case.
yeah, yes,
Midnight Marauders, Electric, that shit still knocks hard. It's like classic music. It's classic. And Q-Tip is really a genius. He produced a lot of Tribe Called Quest music. He produced for Nas.
yes,
He's really, really talented. And he's still on the scene. He's still really doing his thing on the scene. He's
yep.
DJing different places around the city. I think they had a tour, not a tour, but they're performing at festivals. I think last year they performed at a festival. So there's, Tribe Called Quest is still around, but
That's why
yeah.
Nicole Kidman knew. She got her back bent out by Q-Tip.
Oh, ew, really?
Um, yeah, Nicole Kidman.
I didn't know. I used to have a crush on him too, and then I decided that I thought he was asexual.
Yeah, that same thing. I went through that, and I'm like, I don't know,
Yeah, no,
something.
I can't really. And he used to date the designer Vashti. I forget her name. She's like a Indian chick from the islands.
Oh,
Um,
wow, she's very pretty,
yeah, she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. They
hmm
dated for a while,
and
but
she
I just
like
don't.
40. She's like almost 50. I think she's 50 years old. She
Is
looks
she? She
great.
looks
Yeah, she looks really good.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I just really see him as asexual. Like I don't see him with a man or a woman.
Yeah, kind of agree with you on that. But still, he's a uh great
But he's
music
talented. He's
icon.
super talented.
Hmm
And I've watched interviews where people talk about him, and they say just how laser focused he is on. He's almost like a music geek when it comes to production. Like he
Yeah,
has all of these like records, and he's like really just music is just in the fabric of his being,
I
which is
love
really
that.
cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
So yes, you're gonna make me play the song tonight when I go to sleep tonight. And it's one of those songs you can play when you're going to sleep. You play when you go in the gym. You play when you want to get
Hmm.
you want to get hyped. It's one of
Yeah.
those. So
So
yeah. So okay.
all right.
So this is the segment of the show where we highlight a black business. So we believe in growing our economy and strengthening our communities. And we want to build awareness of products and services made by us for us because we FUBU up in here. So we are supporting Amalgam Comics and Coffee House. Yay! It is the only black woman owned comic book store and coffee shop on the entire East Coast. Is located in North Philly. So the owner and founder, Ariel R. Johnson, she started the coffee shop when she was an accounting student at Temple University. So you know me, I am a semi gamer. I'm a movie addict. I'm a TV connoisseur. I believe in the zombie apocalypse. I used to murder kids up at Rutgers playing Mortal Kombat 2. I'm Marvel's movies all day. You know this about me. So when I heard that there is a black owned, female black owned comic book store, and they have a mail order subscription, so you can like sign up and get uh, uh um issues of different comic books, which I love. I have a whole collection, so I love this idea. So you can find Amalgam Comics and Coffee House at www.amalgamphilly.com. That's AMALGAMPHILLY.com. So big shout outs to Amalgam and to Ariel Johnson.
Yep. Shout outs to them. I'm pretty sure her shit is popping during Comic Con.
Yes, yes. So I was really excited and to know that they have a mail order subscription. So all right, so we've come to the end. Is this the end? I wanna know. I wanna know.
Is this the end? That was my favorite New Edition song.
Girl, that was on.
Oh.
I had a 45. That's how old it was. I had the record, and you used to have to put a little thing in the middle so it won't spin all out of control. Right? I wanna know. I want to know. So, yes, we've come to the end. All right, let's do this. You can subscribe to That's What I'm Saying, the podcast, in the Apple Podcast app. We're on Google Play, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and Stitcher. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Our Twitter is That's What I Say 3. Visit That's What I'm Saying, the website is that's what I'm saying podcast.com. You can learn more, send us questions and comments. As always, we got to shout out our super producer, Ny.
Vegas World Inc. He holds us down. His Twitter is Vegas World Inc. We love him to death.
We love him to life.
And also, to life, yeah. And also, catch us on Instagram. My Instagram is kind of popping now. We're up to like 400 followers. So thank you for
on Twitter. We're like at 900, right?
Oh, really? Yes. Okay.
What?
Yeah, thank you for following us. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking our DMs. Just thank you for giving us the support and the love. We really, really appreciate y'all.
Yes, absolutely. So until next week.
All right.
Take care, y'all.
Drop it on the random.